What is up, y'all? We are here for our weekly energy oracle forecast. Just taking a look at the week ahead to see what kind of energy we will be living and moving and having our being in. Ooh, we have stability. I really like this. It's like we're taking a step in the right direction. Taking steps in the right direction. It's like we're going towards new growth, new self-expression, new abundance, regenerating what has come before and died, and now we're making something new of it. So I feel like a lot of us feel like we've been in a big reinvention of self over the last few years, and it's been a slower process than I think we thought, or either that or there have been many stages throughout that process. And so I think we all thought, oh, can't we just be in the new reality? Why am I in this threshold space? But I think that we are moving towards stability and expansion. Jupiter moved into Cancer. And so what is that if not deepening our and expanding our comforts in our home life, the feeling of security, deepening relationships, I think, nurturing environments. But I think we're really finding our stride too, and, connecting with that future perfected self, or not even calling it the future self, but that higher self, that perfected self that already lives in that timeline where you are fully realized. Nothing's holding you back. You don't have any hang-ups. You don't have any subconscious defense mechanisms or programming. It's like if you were had full functionality, no viruses, the computer viruses is what I mean. Like, how would you function in life? And, if you never had any confusion, and if you knew all the right steps and you were so certain, and you kind of like were always on the right track and never detoured. That's always what I imagine this higher destiny would be. And it's not that you'd never meet challenges, but it's just that you would never feel like you weren't at the right place, and you'd feel confident and secure where you were. And I think that would help us get, into more of a fullness of our being. So anyway, sorry to wrap on about that. Ooh, I love this. When I see this card, I know that things are really coming into fruition, or they have great potential to. They're really pushing against that edge of reality. And so it's important to keep our thoughts in a fertile and healthy place, right? The trees are so sacred because they reach up and they grow upward and upward into the upper realms, and they reach for that higher consciousness while also having those deep roots that go deep into the subconscious and understand the physical nature as well. So I think that this is getting our mindset in the right place. I think that it is having deep, strong roots in healthy soil. We've been working on offloading and identifying and reprogramming our subconscious and clearing that and unblocking it. And I think that through everything starts with a thought, right? Anything we say, anything that we declare, it started as a thought, right? Even when we speak thoughtlessly, that's coming from the subconscious, right? So we clean up our mind, we clean up our consciousness, we clean up our subconscious, and we start speaking blessings into our life, and we declare the blessings that are already in our life and our gratitude and appreciation of them, and declare the Creator's goodness, declare all of the wonderful things that are unfolding and becoming. I've got a lot of ink all over my hands. I had pens bust tonight. Tonight was one of those nights where you're like running around. You can't get settled. You can't get a good rhythm. You're just like sweating and like sticky, and then like pins keep busting, and you're just a mess the whole day. That was me today. But yes, so I really think, and then the earth is what this card says. And so to me, I feel like things are coming from the inner and they are becoming outer. They are going from thought to manifestation, from the intrinsic to the extrinsic. So things are beginning to materialize from our dreams and our visions. So I'm excited. This is good. Stability, developing, abundance, and growth. And it's important to keep taking steps in the right direction, keep our thoughts right, keep our words positive. Air. This is thoughts, ideas, messages, letting things breathe, giving things space. When the Bible references like the spirit and even being taken over by inspiration or insight, talks about it like it describes it as wind and air, right? So this is that inner knowing, I think, and guidance that gives us that lightness to feel like we are floating. I love that there's the strength of the femur here, the leg bone. We've got feathers, that are like wings have to be sturdy, but they're so delicate. They do something so mighty. And they're so strong. But I mean, if I'm a collector of feathers, I love bird feathers, and they're made of such delicate, fine materials, and yet they're really hardy. It's interesting. So it's like, even though this feels light and airy, it's giving us this strength and capacity beyond what we feel like we'd be capable of, a real strength and sturdiness that is uplifting and is lifting us through this transformation. We've got these butterflies here. So I love that. Change of mindset, new ideas, being inspired and uplifted, and then giving things space to breathe. We might even consider listening to the universe, who's been pleading with us for weeks now to get a meditation practice going. We may want to do a meditation practice. It's like everywhere I keep having these messages in my face that it's like, you need to sit down and breathe. You need to breathe. You need to meditate. I'm like, I know. I need to go to bed earlier and get up earlier so I can work these things into the day. All right, y'all, holding myself accountable. I'm not doing my little couch nap. I'm going straight to bed when I get sleepy. I'm going to get up earlier tomorrow. Last time I told y'all I did that, I did, and it helped to be accountable. Okay, so we've got two cards together. We've got passion and we have opposition. Okay, so this makes me feel like there is inner conflicting desire. We have growing passion and growing fire and a new sense of life force and vitality and virility coming through us, and inspiration and wanting to be creative and wanting to jump in there and get going. And yet there's so much resistance coming up. There's our self-sabotaging habits or things that we do by accident impulsively, and then it's too late. It's like if you earn a bunch of extra money, but then you kind of blow it all on little extra packages and all of that. That's really common. Losing a few pounds and then being like, well, I can cheat. And then, you gain the pounds back. Just wanting to take steps toward making your goals realized, and then having subtle things that get in the way throughout the day that end up sidetracking you and getting you to lose your focus so that you don't make that a priority. So much so that you schedule it in, you get up early for it, and you make it happen no matter what, come hell or high water, right? It's like there's so much that can factor into what causes us to have that inner resistance. Sometimes it's a feeling of not deserving or not being worthy. sometimes we're unconscious with the way that we treat ourselves, right? It was a revelatory insight recently when I saw that when I was, breaking promises to myself, there was a part of me that would be like, go to bed early, get good sleep, and get up earlier, and then we can do the things we want to do tomorrow. And then my other half of myself is the one that's like, yeah, we'll do that. And then I end up going back on my word and like falling asleep on the couch and sleeping a little too late into the night, and then having to get up and wake myself up and go to bed, right? Bad habits. So to me, I realized, when I do that, it's no different from my exes in the past who were not true to their word with me either, right? Like they weren't dependable, and they would be like, oh yeah, we'll do that, and then they would just do whatever they wanted, and they wouldn't care how it affected me. Well, I'm doing that to myself by not doing these things, right? Every day that I'm like, I want to, incorporate my writing project in today, and I don't, right? That's another time that I am breaking promises to myself, and I'm being that bad boyfriend or that bad narcissistic character in my life, right? To my own self. And so if I'm still treating me this way, the universe is doing me a favor by not having anyone new come into my life, because then they would treat me that way, right? So we have this time to become aware of how we're working against ourselves in subtle ways. Another thing that might be happening is low-level trauma responses. And freezing can look like wanting to accomplish things, but then finding yourself busy through the day, but not super fruitful in your efforts. Like getting sidetracked, or things just like not lining up, or busy work that doesn't lead to much, doesn't push the needle forward, kind of thing. So there could be many reasons and many factors coming in that are kind of opposing us from really like getting into this, using our passion as fuel, really aligning with our goals and our dreams. And then another is inner conflicting desire. And what that kind of looks like is you want this thing in your conscious mind. You're like, I dream of doing this thing and I want this so much. And yet there's something in you that's hidden that you're unaware of, that is afraid that if you get that thing, you're going to have to give up another thing, or it's going to affect you in a way that you find your subconscious finds negative. And so it's trying to defend you. Like, for instance, if I had a job in like, say, like a corporate environment, or an environment where I wanted to move up, right, and get a promotion and have a position of leadership. And so that would mean making more money and not doing some of the tasks that I do currently, but then like I would be doing other tasks and not others. But then, so that's exciting, in my mind, because my benefit package expands and I make more. And I don't know, I've never worked in a corporate environment. I'm just using things that I've heard people say. I don't know what it's like to have benefits. So yeah, you're like, there's this, benefits of getting this promotion. However, there's a part of you inside that's like, but that'll also take up a lot more time, and the buck lands on me, and I'm going to be responsible for everyone. And that makes me nervous. And what if it completely, hijacks my work-life balance? Or what if I have to always be available and, checking my messages so much more? So there's reasons why, we kind of hold ourselves back. Say you want to have a glow up, right? And you want to hit a certain kind of physical goal for yourself, and you feel like this physical goal will help you feel more attractive. However, you've been hiding as a defense mechanism. So even though your conscious mind wants to give yourself a makeover and feel like you're really shining and comfortable being seen, there's a part of you that feels like that puts you in a vulnerable position, being seen and being desirable. And so you are afraid that puts you in danger. So your subconscious will have ways to sabotage your glow up. right? This can happen with looking for relationships. Like just putting myself into like the character here. I want a relationship, but I'm afraid to lose my independence. What if this person, comes into my life and they're inconvenient, or what if they're very controlling, or, you just never know until you get to know someone, right? And so there might be a part of you though that is not seeing the nuances of, well, I'm not indebted to this person for the rest of my life. Like, that's why you take it slow and you get to know someone, but your ego, your subconscious, your inner child, all of that team of the hysterical people inside of you, they're not thinking like that. They're thinking, oh, worst case scenario, this is everything's at stake, So it's like, I want it, I can't, it's like push and pull, and will they, won't they? Can't live with it, can't live without it, So there's all these factors, limiting beliefs, right? Projections. So I think we're seeing that though. We're being able to be aware enough of the game that's going on, the simulation that we're in, the matrix, so to speak. And so when we see our inner saboteur rear its ugly little head, like we're starting to see it faster. And when we recognize it, it helps us detach from the hooks. And we're not hooked into the storyline or the illusion. We're not getting sucked into the drama of it all. We're like, oh, I can take a step back. I see my inner defense mechanisms coming up. I see I feel myself getting triggered. It's warning signs. Instead of a severe thunderstorm warning, it should be like severe reactivity affected a consciousness warning. Hello, take cover. Go to the bathroom. Take some deep breaths. Regain your sovereignty, and then come back. So look out for this. At this point, this is what we're looking at for this week, that we're recognizing is sort of the thing that's kind of holding us back from all of this. Look, we have stability. We have abundance and new consciousness, new ideas, new creativity coming in. We have strength and ideas and transformation of consciousness and lightness and space to breathe. And we can finally take a breath, and passion. And this is what we want to build with and build on, right? So it's very exciting cards. Everything you'd want to see, everything, that all the elements that create, a good recipe in a cauldron, of a good magic spell. It's like everything good. We've got stability. We've got abundance and levity and lightness and strength and stability and passion and fire and heart and beauty. So I think those are good things. The only thing we have here is to watch out for our own inner saboteur that's going to resist all of those things. And if not outright resist, at least be looking over your shoulder, wondering like, okay, when's the shoe going to drop? When's the rug, So watch for the inner saboteur. But otherwise, be expectant for positive things. Be on the lookout for great things. One more note that I will add to the point that I was making in the Secret Teachings of Jesus video last night when we were talking about the inner versus the outer and getting hung up on idolatry. What that does is it puts limits on God, right? When you look at God and you try to imagine him as something that has form, you put limits on God, and you're worshiping a graven image of God, but you're putting limits. You're not opening yourself up to the limitless, right? When you think that it's just the sage cleansing your house, and the sage isn't just like a technology or an app that facilitates like the thing that you want to do, like that you're really channeling the light of the creator. The creator is purging the house, but the sage is just the thing that is assigned to be the app on your phone, right? It's just like everything has an assignment, everything has an energy and intelligence to it. But thinking that it's the sage that has the power, we're limiting our understanding and we're stopping too soon. It's just that the sage is like the tool that we use to channel the God, God's energy, God's light coming through. So all the solutions that we're looking for in this material realm, they're really just channels for divine light. And we get hung up in limitations, right? Even down to people understanding only the surface level of the Torah. It like limits their understanding and perception of the great mysteries. Like they stop too soon. They're limiting themselves. And so we limit ourselves too much. And so we want to tap in to the limitlessness of the Almighty, the limitlessness of the speediness at which miracles can happen, the limitlessness of the eternal flow of grace and love and mercy and creation. So yeah, the idolatry, not only are you wasting your energy on something that is false and empty, like you're focusing on the husk and getting really needy of it, you're limiting yourself when you could have so much more. And we do the same with our own self. We limit our potential by, getting really caught up in only what we can see, and we ignore that inner voice within that can perceive of the limitless and is connected to the limitless and is connected to that higher self. And so we get scared when we start to push against the limit of our current experience. When we start to reach that comfort zone, we get scared and we start to limit ourselves. That subconscious comes in and it's like, hey, wait, you're about to swim outside of the bounds here. Are you sure about this? Let's go back to the shallow end. And you're like, no, I want to be a distance swimmer. I want to go limitless. And I feel the discomfort. I feel the reflex to do something to sabotage myself, right? Have you ever noticed that you get to a certain point in your bank account, but it never goes any higher? That's what you'll allow yourself to have before you hit your threshold of unfamiliar, right? People have a threshold for the amount of comfort they can have, or the amount of abundance they can have, or the amount of difference that they can handle. And if they're used to having poverty and stress and anxiety, or even crisis and health problems or car problems, they'll manifest chaos. I grew up in a family that was addicted to chaos and didn't know, no one knew it. No one was aware that was even a thing, right? And I'm the weird person of the family who can see these things and understand these things. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like there's never a moment of peace in this group of people in this house under one roof, because like the machine is perpetuating constant chaos and disruption and upheaval, crisis. And it's like we can manufacture this with our manifestation power, and our subconscious is so much more powerful than any of our conscious mind. Our subconscious is like the ocean, so vast and deep and powerful, and it's really influencing most of our experience, more so than our conscious mind. Our conscious mind is the part of us that's trying to like break bad habits and like set new ones. And it's like, oh, I'm having a hard time with this. This is all really heavy. But like our subconscious is like, and it's very quiet and it's like very influential. And it could be like, hey, remember you said that you wanted that green sweater like a while back? You can go that direction. There's a green sweater over there. You're like, I know I want to go over there. Oh my gosh, I love this green sweater. I don't know why I'm so compelled to get this green sweater. And then you realize you're like, oh my God, this was on my manifestation list from like 2 years ago and I totally forgot about it, right? So the subconscious is powerful. And that's why, talismans work. It's not that they have any kind of energy in them. You're just using them to trigger your subconscious to start leading you in the direction to connect with the thing that you want, you know? All right. Well, that is all for tonight. I hope that y'all have a good week coming up, and we will be back together tomorrow for our weekly anchor message, where we will be getting our spiritual assignments and lessons for the week. We are at our halfway point through the year, but there are still 6 months to go in the 2025 prediction series, and there's always evergreen wisdom in the videos. And so, yeah, the people who've gotten it have said they have really enjoyed the workshop. So that's $10 in my description box below if you want to have that resource. There are monthly readings, quarterly readings, yearly overview, and then journal questions to help you workshop through the quarters and the months and the weeks. All right, y'all. Peace.